Alright, let's start with something that's absolutely crucial in the world of tea brewing. Understanding the specific brewing temperatures and steeping times for different types of tea. You see, each type of tea has its own ideal brewing temperature and steeping time that can make a world of difference in the overall taste and aroma of the tea. For instance, let's talk about green tea. It's a delicate type of tea that needs a bit more care while brewing. The optimal brewing temperature for green tea is around 160 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Any hotter and you risk burning the leaves, resulting in a bitter taste. As for the steeping time, it should generally be between 1 to 3 minutes. On the other hand, we have black tea, which is a lot more forgiving. It can handle higher temperatures around 200 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And it should be steeped for about 3 to 5 minutes.
Remember, these are just general guidelines.
Some teas might need more or less time, depending on their specific characteristics. Then we have our white teas, which require the lowest temperatures, usually around 160 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit, with a steeping time of about 1 to 5 minutes. And let's not forget about oolong tea, which is kind of a middle ground between black and green tea. It should be brewed at temperatures around 180 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit and steeped for about 3 to 5 minutes. Herbal teas are a different story altogether. They are quite versatile and can be brewed at boiling temperatures and steeped for about 5 to 7 minutes. So you see, each tea has its own unique brewing temperature and steeping time that can truly enhance its flavor profile. It's like a secret code for unlocking the best taste of each tea.
Once you understand this, you can start exploring and experimenting with different teas and their brewing methods.
So, now that we've got a handle on the brewing temperatures and steeping times, let's navigate through the unique characteristics and taste profiles of various teas, including black, green, white, oolong, and herbal teas. Let's kick things off with black tea. This is the most oxidized of all tea types, which gives it a strong, robust flavor that can range from malty or fruity to even slightly smoky. It's also higher in caffeine than other teas, making it a great morning drink. Next up is green tea. Green tea undergoes minimal oxidation during processing, which allows it to retain its green color and delicate flavor. The taste can be grassy, vegetal, sweet, or even slightly bitter depending on the specific variety. White tea, on the other hand, is the least processed of all teas. It's delicate, light, and subtly sweet. Some people describe it as having a floral or fruity taste with a hint of creaminess. Oolong tea. Oh boy. This one is a real treat. It's somewhere in between green and black tea in terms of oxidation. As a result, it combines the best of both worlds with a flavor profile that can be floral and sweet, like green tea, or malty and robust, like black tea. And finally, we have herbal teas. Now, these are not technically teas as they are made from a variety of plants, herbs, and spices rather than from a tea plant. But their flavors can be incredibly diverse, ranging from sweet and fruity to spicy or minty. Each of these teas has its own unique characteristics and flavors, making each sip a unique experience. And the best part, there's a type of tea out there for everyone. Whether you're a fan of strong, bold flavors, or if you prefer something more subtle and delicate, there's a tea out there just waiting for you. So, go ahead and dive into the world of tea and find your perfect match. All right, so now we're going to embark on a fascinating journey, exploring the traditional methods of tea brewing from various cultures around the world. Tea isn't just about the leaves. It's about the experience, the ritual, and the culture it's steeped in. No pun intended. Nah, that's started in China, the birthplace of tea. Second, the Chinese tea ceremony, also known as gongfu-cha, is an intricate process that pays meticulous attention to every aspect of tea brewing. It involves brewing tea in a small teapot or gaiwan with high leaf-to-water ratio and infusing the tea multiple times. The emphasis here is on appreciating the tea in all its facets: the color, aroma, flavor, and the way it feels in your mouth. Next, we travel to Japan, where the matcha tea ceremony, or chanoyu, holds a special place. It's a meditative ritual that involves the ceremonial preparation and presentation of matcha, a powdered green tea. The tea is whisked until frothy, using a special bamboo whisk, and it's all about mindfulness, respect, and harmony. In India, tea, or chai, as it's locally known, is brewed with a mix of spices like cardamom, cloves, and ginger in a method called masala chai. It's usually brewed directly in the milk, along with the spices, resulting in a rich, creamy, and spicy concoction that's as comforting as it is delicious. Over in Morocco, mint tea is the star of the tea ceremony. Green tea is brewed with mint leaves and sugar, and it's traditionally served 3 times to guests. The tea is often poured from a height to create a froth on the top, and each pour signifies a different part of life: love, life, and death. And let's not forget about Britain, where the art of tea brewing involves a strong black tea, often served with milk and sugar. The concept of afternoon tea, a small meal accompanied by tea, is a quintessential part of British culture. Each of these methods brings out different flavors and experiences from the same humble tea leaf, showcasing how diverse and versatile the world of tea can be. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to brew tea. It's all about personal preference and enjoyment. So feel free to experiment and find the brewing method that suits you best.
Isn't the world of tea just amazing?
All right, let's delve into a topic that might seem pretty basic on the surface. That, believe me, it's anything but. We're going to investigate the impact of water quality and tea to water ratio on the overall taste of brewed tea. Now, you might be thinking, water is just water, right? Well, not exactly. When it comes to brewing tea, the quality of water can significantly influence the taste. The ideal water for tea brewing is fresh, clean, and contains minimal amounts of minerals. Hard water that's high in minerals can lead to a flat or metallic taste, where chlorinated tap water can impart unwanted flavors. So, using filtered or spring water can make a noticeable difference to your brew. Now let's talk about the key to water ratio. This is another key factor that can make or break your cup of tea. Too much tea can result in a brew that's overly strong and bitter, while too little can lead to a weak, underwhelming cup. A good general rule of thumb is to use about 1 teaspoon of tea for every 8 ounces of water. But remember, this can vary depending on the type of tea and personal preference. For example, if you're brewing a delicate white tea, you might want to use slightly less tea. On the other hand, for a robust black tea or a flavorful herbal blend, you could use a bit more. The key is to start with the recommended ratio and then adjust according to your taste. Also, consider the brewing time along with the tea to water ratio. A longer brewing time can extract more flavors, but it can also bring out the bitterness in the tea, especially if you're using your high tea to water ratio. So if you prefer a stronger brew, it's often better to use more tea leaves rather than increase in the steeping time. Remember, brewing the perfect cup of tea is a delicate balance between the right amount of tea, the right amount of water, and the right brewing time. And of course, the right water. So don't be afraid to experiment until you find your perfect balance. Well, now we're at the final, but no less important, topic of our discussion, mastering the art of using different brewing equipment and techniques for optimal flavor extraction. Because, let's face it, even with the best tea leaves and perfect water, if your brewing equipment or technique is off, it can throw the whole thing out of balance. Starting off with teapots, these traditional pieces of equipment are perfect for brewing larger quantities of tea. They often come with built-in infusers, which make them handy for loose-leaf teas. When using a teapot, make sure to pre-warm it with hot water before adding your tea. This helps to maintain correct brewing temperature throughout the steeping process. Next, we have infusers, or strainers. Well, these are great for single cups of tea and offer an easy and convenient way to brew loose-leaf tea. They come in all shapes and sizes, from the classic ball infusers to novelty ones shaped like animals or objects. The key here is to make sure the infuser gives the tea leaves enough room to expand and release the flavor. Now, if you're looking to get a bit more traditional, you might want to try a gaiwan. This is a Chinese lidded bowl used for infusing tea leaves. Brewing in a gaiwan can offer a more nuanced tasting experience, as it allows you to control the steeping time precisely. But be warned, it can take a bit of practice to master the technique without spilling your tea. For matcha lovers, a bamboo whisk, or chasen, is a must-have tool. It's used to whisk the matcha powder with water into a frothy, smooth brew. The technique involves whisking in a zigzag motion until the surface of the matcha becomes frothy. Remember, no matter what equipment you're using, the key to a great cup of tea is patience. Take your time to appreciate the process, from the moment the hot water hits the leaves to the first sip of your perfectly brewed cup. After all, tea brewing is not just about the end result, but about the journey as well. So, enjoy every step of the process.
Now, who's ready for a cup of tea?